Big breaking news today coming from Tottenham and from Fabrizio Romano. Timo Werner looks like he's on the way to join Ange Postecoglou at Tottenham. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Yep, been a busy week as far as what Timo Werner's concerned. He was on the list seemingly to join Manchester United on loan this January. Well, fast forward to today and it seems that Werner and everything else to do with the potential of a Timo Werner transfer has made a switch, and it seems likely that he will be joining Tottenham in the very near future. Werner seemingly has agreed to join Tottenham on an initial loan deal that will see him leave RB Leipzig for Spurs till the end of the season. What do you make of this, Tottenham fans? I think if you hear very closely, and if you hear very well, you can probably hear a large and huge sigh of relief coming from a lot of Manchester United fans in response to this news that Timo Werner is looking ever so likely to join Tottenham, and it could be very close to becoming a reality. We're going to be talking about this potential transfer. We're going to be talking about Timo Werner, about Tottenham, how he may fit in with everything at Spurs under Ange Postecoglou, and everything else in between. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things always have very greatly appreciated. And of course, I encourage you all to get involved in the comment section as well. Let me know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it down below in the comment section, because this should be very interesting to get your opinions on. So do get involved down below. But without further ado, let's get on with the story of Timo Werner being linked with a move to Tottenham. The news really comes from one Fabrizio Romano, of course, with it being transfer window time. We know that's when Fabrizio really does come alive on the footballing scene. And today, well, this week actually, we talked about Timo Werner earlier this week when we talked about Manchester United, and we said that Timo Werner could be on his way to Manchester United on an initial loan deal. Leipzig seemed very much open to letting Werner go out on loan, and that seemed to be where we were heading. But then today, things have seemingly moved very quickly. Things have seemingly moved at a very swift rate on the Timo Werner story, and here we are talking about Werner on the verge of joining Tottenham Hotspur. Romano tweeted today, or X today, whichever way you want to put it. It's so weird. It's still Twitter to me. Timo Werner has accepted Spurs' proposal as he wants to return to the Premier League. He's very keen on working with Ange Postecoglou. Postecoglou also approved the deal. Negotiations ongoing today between Leipzig and Tottenham on loan, plus potential option to buy clause. Now, it seems that Tottenham are covering all bases on this. An initial loan deal, of course, with an option to buy means that the advantage in this kind of negotiation does fall with the team that is going to take that player on loan. Should Werner, of course, go on to have an unbelievable end to the season with Spurs, and obviously if he is to be this great signing that I'm sure Postecoglou and Tottenham are hoping for him to be, then of course they can pick him up for somewhat of maybe a bargain price, depending on obviously what the option to buy clause obviously is. So Tottenham are trying to take the advantage in this, and it's smart on Tottenham's part, but is it a smart transfer overall? Remember, this is a guy, and it's a very interesting story because obviously this is a guy who made a name for himself in the Bundesliga with RB Leipzig. At the time of him being at the club, he was seen as being Europe's next hottest striker. He was seen as having all the tools to make for a perfect all-round striker that had huge potential, raw talent, as well as obviously being for the here and now in the present day. He was seen as being quick, explosive, good build-up play. He was strong, good aerial presence, and also had a killer instinct in front of goal. For one reason or another, as soon as he made a big money move to Chelsea, ironically Chelsea, of course, Spurs' fierce rivals, that killer instinct seemingly vanished. What was left was sightings, glimpses, glimmers of everything that we had heard and seen from him in an RB Leipzig shirt that never really came to fruition whilst playing for Chelsea. And it was seen as being hit and miss, he was seen as being inconsistent, and he was seen as being someone who Chelsea had threw a lot of money at, but maybe shouldn't have done. And it was seen as a backfire on Chelsea. He obviously then moved to Leipzig, and he scored 2 goals this season in 14 appearances in all competitions. Not a very good return for Werner. The fact of the matter is, he's never really been the same striker since. Since his move from Leipzig originally, he's never really been that same sort of striker since moving to Chelsea, or even since returning to the Bundesliga club. And it's a very interesting move, this, because things haven't obviously clearly worked out for him back at Leipzig, to the point where Leipzig are very happy for him to go out on loan. And obviously, Man United were linked to him earlier this week. Tottenham are now seen as being in pole position to sign him, so it really does seem like Leipzig are very much happy to obviously let him go. I didn't think that Man United was the right move for him, and obviously Tottenham, given his Chelsea background and his Chelsea route there, does seem a bit of a strange one to me, but at the same time, I feel like this could be a very intriguing signing for Spurs. And I think for Werner, it could represent a second chance in the Premier League to really show really what he was all about. I feel like at Chelsea, maybe the pressure got to him at that age. Maybe there was too much pressure on him to maybe grab the goals and be the main man up front for the Blues. I feel like in this scenario, with the kind of team that Tottenham have and the way that they like to play their football and this Ange ball sort of thing, I feel like this may actually work out in Tottenham's favour. I don't think it'll be perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think it will be as incredible a signing or as what many people may feel, or even as worse a signing as what many people may feel. I think it's going to be a bit of a middle of the road kind of thing. And like I say, for a loan move initially, there's no real gamble on this. Like, Spurs are safe. Spurs are going for a top 4 battle. There is still talk of maybe a potential title race, but I just don't think they have the squad depth to obviously do that. Spurs going for the top 4 this season, I think Werner could really help them in their case for doing that. Especially when I see the way that Tottenham like to play. You see the kind of form that Richarlison is in right now. Now, I don't rate Richarlison at all, but the way he's getting goals and the way about and the type of goals he's scoring, should I say, that's more or less Werner's bread and butter. If he can learn to get into those positions that Richarlison's in, Spurs just need to work the ball to him, and he's got the most simplest and easiest of tasks to obviously get the job done by sticking the ball in the back of the net. I know it sounds easier said than done, but if he gets into the positions that Richarlison's in, they're very easy chances that Richarlison is getting, and that's why he's getting the goals right now and he's in the form that he is. They normally work it down one side, they cut the ball back, and it's an easy finish. It's a one-touch finish for the player in the box. Normally Richarlison, occasionally has been Son, and now it could potentially be Timo Werner. With the way that Tottenham play, with his explosive pace, with the way that he can hold the ball up, with his aerial presence as well to add to his arsenal, I reckon this could be a decent signing for Spurs. I don't think it's going to be as bad of a signing as what many people assume, but I don't think it's going to be the kind of explosive signing that's going to be initially greeted with much praise from rival fans or even maybe Tottenham fans themselves. But at the same time, it could be a decent signing that may just about help Spurs get over the line for Champions League football in an attacking sense. Yes, we know that Spurs are going to be active in this transfer window. The amount of injuries that they've picked up so far this season tells you that. And with the way that Ange plays football, they obviously need strength and depth, because I imagine that as the season wears on, there could be more injuries to come. With the intensity and the tenacity that Ange likes to play his football with, those players will obviously need to be rotated, kept fresh, rested from time to time, and obviously the amount of injury they picked up as well should obviously act as a symbol of things that may come for Spurs later on down the line. Werner adds an attacking element to that, obviously adds to the attacking sense of Tottenham, and of course with Son being away through the international break, you know, he can play as well as a left winger, as well as a striker to boot. So there is a lot to do with Timo Werner. There's still obviously a lot of work to do with Spurs. Of course, they're talking about bringing in a couple of defenders as well, which obviously needs to happen. They need to obviously bring in a couple of defenders as well. So this isn't the be-all and end-all, but I think for an attacking approach, for someone who I wouldn't say is going to be the final piece of the puzzle in the attacking sense. Obviously not. For a guy who is a risk-free transfer from now until the end of the season that may be able to chip in with a few goals here and there, maybe to win some games and maybe even to secure Champions League football. This guy could be a bit of an underrated piece of business that I wouldn't say like the look of, but I'm kind of intrigued to see how well he does, how well Tottenham sort of take to him. Yes, he has the ability to be extremely frustrating. Yes, he can be a comical figure to rival fans because of the way that he misses easy chances, because of the way that he plays football, because of the way that obviously his Chelsea career went. But at the same time, I do feel like if Ange can really get into him, make him aware of the positions that he needs to take up, if he can get Richarlison in this kind of form right now, where he's scoring quite a few goals and is on a bit of a run, I don't see a reason why Timo Werner can't get in that same vein of form. And I rate Timo Werner higher than what I would rate Richarlison. So I feel like in an attacking sense, just to add another player to the mix, to obviously cover for Son's absence whilst he's on international duty, and to obviously maybe go forward in a sense of Tottenham looking in a top 4 battle. I don't see a reason why you shouldn't take this gamble on a player that clearly has something to his game and clearly could add elements to his game that will be beneficial for Spurs, but it's not maybe someone who is maybe a long-term solution, and maybe the option to buy, you know, it doesn't have to be triggered. That clause doesn't have to be triggered. You could use him till the end of the season, see someone that's better, that could be a better fit for Spurs, that is available in the summer, and obviously move on to them. Or if he does hit the ground running and he is exceptional and the weight of expectation is dropped from his shoulders, because not many people are probably going to be expecting a great deal from this guy in terms of this potential move to Spurs, maybe that could be beneficial to Werner, and maybe that could obviously help Tottenham as well as Werner. Werner maybe re-kickstart his career, and as for Spurs, it could help them on their way towards maybe securing Champions League football for next season. I don't think it's that bad of a signing. I don't think it's the best signing that Spurs could have made, but I think for the right here and now, when the main focus has to be on bringing in defenders and maybe just beefing up the midfield as far as beefing up the strike force as part of a necessity for the end of the season, it's obviously, I think, a decent move this. So I think it's a decent move overall. Like I said, I think the priority is defenders, and I think if you can get those defenders for the money that's being talked about, I know they're on about getting 2 very decent defenders that are in Europe, so there is obviously a lot more to come from Spurs in this transfer window. They're definitely not going to be quiet on this situation, so it's going to be interesting to see how they go about their business going forward. I just think adding Werner, a body, bit of Premier League experience in there, and I think with tools and attributes that I think Spurs can really use and exploit to their advantage, I don't see it being a terrible move, especially for the sort of low-level, low-risk sort of gamble that this deal could represent as far as being a loan deal with an option to buy. They have the ascendancy, they have the advantage, they have the high ground, Anakin, in this situation, in terms of obviously deciding what they want to do. They take him on loan, he helps them probably get Champions League football. If he does, if he doesn't, if he's useless, they just don't trigger that clause. If they use him and he does well, and he does better than what many people are expecting, then it's an absolute gem of a deal for Ange Postecoglou, and he's already paid back the kind of money that they would have spent on his loan fee and everything with getting the club Champions League football, or helping the club get Champions League football. So I don't think this is as bad a signing as what many people may feel, but of course these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of this potential loan signing for Spurs in the form of Timo Werner, former Chelsea player, of course. I'd love to know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, on this potential transfer story. I'm sure it'll make for interesting and great reading down below. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things always have be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I'll see you speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for stopping by and watching. Take care, everyone. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll talk to you again very, very soon.